These sound like you could do really cool ASMR.
Yep. Okay, let's be done with that. Take
What is it? What do they do?
Please stop. Please, I hate that so much. Please. I have to edit this.
It's the little nail. It literally sounds like food crackling. Ew.
I'm B.
I'm Smage.
What? You always rush through yours.
My name is a syllable.
I'm Smage. Mine is a syllable too, bitch.
Okay, I don't know what you're mad at me.
Anyways. I'm B.
I'm Smage.
You know what, bitch?
What do you want
Fine,
from
fuck
me?
it. Whatever you want to do. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm B.
I'm Smage.
Welcome to Cinemuck.
Where we talk about all things cinema.
And all things muck. Today's episode, motherfucker, we're talking about The Ritual.
Yeah.
I just have to say, very upfront, I remember this movie being a lot scarier the first time I watched it.
I was very frightened the first time I watched it. I think
Yeah.
it was just the realm of the unknown
Yeah, in
of
the
it all.
woods.
Because like nobody just goes for it.
Yeah.
Nobody's just like,
Yeah. Throughout the entire movie, you think like, oh, this is just man or something paranormal, like a ghost or a demon or something.
Yeah, something supernatural.
And then
like
for
the
it to,
vibes
like,
are off.
turn
kind of
out
thing.
to be something where they were just like, you know what, fuck you, we're just doing it.
Yeah, we're literally gonna go for it.
I really appreciate that. If people don't want to listen all the way through with it, would you recommend this movie for people to watch?
I think first time watch, yeah, I'd give it a watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's not so much a staple, but definitely something that's like, oh, if you're in the mood for like horror and you're in the mood for horror that's like Blair Witch, The Wicker Man, Witch,
Anything in the woods.
anything in the woods that is ominous. Yes. At the very beginning, we're following 5 men.
Yep, 5 young men.
You've got Luke, you've got Robert, Hutch, you've got Dom, and then you've got Phil.
The only brown man in this
The only
movie.
brown man, yeah.
So we've got these 5 men. They're in a pub. We're just getting a peek into them planning a boys' trip, essentially. They're all going back and forth about like, oh, we should do like a cruise, or we should do this, or we should do that. Most of them are married. Most of them have children. They're not young men anymore.
No.
They're not going to enjoy.
The only one who is unmarried without children is Luke. He wanted to go do something fun and exciting. Robert was the one that wanted to go for the hike.
Oh, that's
through
right.
Switzerland? Sweden?
I don't know.
Wherever the fuck they go.
Hey, Forrest.
Oh, at one point they do talk about going to the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, it's King's Trail in Sweden. Yeah, good thing they didn't go to Appalachia, man.
Well, it was so funny because I wrote in my notes, talk shit on the Appalachian Mountains again and I'll kill you in a 7-Eleven myself.
Talk shit, get hit.
Don't fuck with those mountains.
They never really come up with a decision. They're just kind of half-ass talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Things are probably going to be...
To be quite honest, I feel like the other 4 guys outside of Luke weren't really about it. They've kind of like gotten past the point of wanting to do a boys trip. Where they're just like, I really just kind of want to go to work, come home, see my
Yeah.
wife and see my kids.
Yeah.
And move on from there.
They all are just kind of like, oh yeah, that sounds fun, hoping that like they can all just like, oh yeah, that's fun, their way out of
Exactly.
ever going
Yeah.
on a trip.
Yeah, and before you know it, oh no,
Oh,
winter's
shit,
here. We'll
damn.
talk about it again, next year.
Yeah,
No big
fuck.
deal. Yeah, but Luke is like steadfast. No, we're gonna have a boys trip. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna go get fucked up and have a great time. And
Yeah,
everybody's
but
just
he's
like,
alone.
oh, yeah, because he's by
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
And he has to rely on the boys, but he's
Yeah.
also a dick. He's not nice to his friends.
He's not a leader, but he's also like not a follower. He's just kind of like,
He's a presence.
yeah, they're leaving the pub and Luke and Rob decide to pop into like the quick mart. So like a little,
Well,
Like a
Luke wants
bodega.
to go in. Luke wants to
Oh, yeah, that's
continue
right.
getting sloshed.
yeah, he wants to go get some more beers or
and
something
the boys
like
are
that.
like, no, I don't think that that's a good idea. Robert, being what I consider probably the leader of the group, was just like, no, it's okay, guys. I'll go in with him and
Yeah.
we'll get him something and we'll get back on our way.
Yeah.
So they head in.
They head in. So they're talking back and forth. They're not really like, again, it's just not, it's a really good look into them as a friend group because
Yeah.
there's nothing really actually happening between any of them. They're just all kind of there, but they're so blasé in their conversations that it does feel like a friend group, which makes it even worse as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
So they're talking and they look over to the side of them because they hear somebody kind of like whimper. And they look, and there's this woman who's like tied up, and
got beat up.
She's beat the fuck up, and she's like the cashier or whatever. They both are just like in shock.
Yeah, and then they snap into the situation.
Yeah,
and
they're like,
oh fuck, this is
and
not
it
good.
looks like they're about to, well, at least Rob looks like he's about to leave. And these two men who are currently robbing, why in the fuck are you robbing a store right on the street? They're actively robbing the mart. As they come in, Luke shuffles like behind one of the
kind of like around the corner behind
shelf?
a shelf.
yeah, so he's not
kinda
visible.
like,
Rob still stands his ground, and so he's just
not
like
so much in his ground, he just kind of like froze a bit. Didn't
Yeah.
really move. I mean, he was kind of in the middle of the aisle, whereas
True.
Luke was closer to the corner.
so they're like, the robbers are confronting him. One guy has a machete, the other guy has like a lead pipe or something.
I think
like
so,
that.
yeah.
I
And
don't
they're
know.
wanting Rob's wallet.
His wallet, anything that
Watch.
he has valuable on him.
Yep.
And then the last thing that they say is like, give us your ring, and it's his wedding ring. And that's where he takes a stand. He's like, no, I'm not giving that to you. This is my wedding ring. I'm not giving that to you. I already
He's
given
like,
you
"You guys-"
everything else.
I deadass think he would have given him his pin to all of his cards.
They're just like pushed over the edge. It's a fucking wedding ring.
It's the one guy doesn't like
machete.
being challenged with the machete, didn't like being challenged.
And he looks
by
like a rat too.
being told
so.
no. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He didn't like being told no.
No.
And so
But Rob is constantly looking back where Luke is hiding to be like, are you gonna help
do
me at
anything?
all?
Yeah. Like
And what is so gut-wrenching is when they show the camera from the perspective of the guys outside, and all
Yeah.
three of them are just talking. They don't even
because
realize
they don't know that
anything is
you
going
can't
on.
see in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see anything
That's
happening on the
insane.
inside. And there's not a lot of noise
I
happening.
can
Nobody's
understand why
yelling.
that's so scary though. Like
Yeah.
why you said that, because
Yeah.
that's actually like, that's one of those where like that voyeurism of knowing
Yeah.
that something bad is happening, but the people
Yeah.
around them don't know that
don't
it's
know.
happening.
Yeah,
That's
they're just
scary.
completely unaware. I'm like, this is
Okay.
fucking
Yeah, I can
terrifying.
understand that.
Rip Robert,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I'm gonna say, all right, rest in peace eternally. To be quite honest,
He did seem like a nice
man.
guy. Yeah, he seemed like a good leader. He
Yeah.
had, no pun intended,
Clearly
a good head
loved
on his
wife.
shoulders.
But he gets slashed with the machete.
With the machete across the face.
Yeah,
It
he falls. He starts bleeding out, and then
they
the guy,
do take his wing.
I think
His ring, yeah.
I think that he does get hit again with the machete. I
He
think
does.
hits
Because
him
he kind of
twice.
gets up.
As he gets hit the first time, Luke sees it. He
Luke
sees
does
him
see
get
it,
hit, and he
and
sees
then
him bleed out and everything.
He like obviously out of instinct turns around the corner
Yeah.
and hides again.
As soon as he gets hit the second time, he wakes up.
Yeah,
was having a
Luke
nightmare.
wakes up
Yeah, he
from
was-
a nightmare.
He's having a nightmare, and he's
Yep.
in a tent. He steps out of the tent, and you can see that he's surrounded by two other tents.
I think three other tents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're on like
on like a mountainous
mountainside.
ridge of something.
Yeah, and it's like clearly cold and windy.
Yeah, and we have now transitioned to where the four men, sans Robert, unfortunately, are hiking the trail that Robert wanted
Yeah,
to
they're
go
hiking
on.
the King's Trail in
Yeah.
Sweden. They kind of just chat with one another. We get a little bit of an insight into Luke and Hutch, into their friendship. It kind of looks like Hutch has turned into the new Robert.
That's what I wrote in my notes. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
that like Hutch. Now that Robert's gone, Hutch has kind of like stepped into the role of the leader of the friend group. I think him and Luke were probably like, they were the best friends and then created the friend group. And so like Hutch probably looked up to Rob at some point.
We assume from their conversation they had just done their first night of the King's Trail, and their end goal is this lodge kind of at the end of the trail where they're going to go and actually properly enjoy their holiday. And so the hike is to get them there, and it's supposed to take them like a couple of days, I
Like
think,
a
to
day
hike
or
there.
two.
Like, not
yeah,
very
it's
long.
not supposed to take
but-
super long.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. They all kind of pack up their gear, and then they go to this
Kind of like what I would consider a
rock
top
formation
of a mountain.
Then there's like these standing rocks. Then they decide to make a little shrine memoriam thing to Rob, put his picture on there and some little trinkets, and they all take a little swig of alcohol, and it's a very nice touching moment. And then it's ruined because
And
they're
the fucking Dom decides to sit there and say it should never have happened. Almost like blaming Luke in a way.
blame the fucking robbers.
But that's where I'm like, I don't think the friend group likes Luke. I think Luke is only there because of Robert. And now that Robert's gone, the group is just like, yeah, we always knew you were bad news, and now you literally killed our friend. It's like, he didn't though.
He didn't kill your friend. Those two robbers killed your friend.
Yep.
The movie is quite fast paced until we get into the woods.
To begin with, I think that's...
Which I think plays into that whole notion of like time. Not saying that the woods is a paradox or anything
No,
like that,
but
but saying that like
time,
the way that
like,
they view time, the way
yeah.
time handles
well,
them.
the woods move differently due to what's in it.
Right.
Like...
Ooh, smidge. Bitch.
The time in the woods does move differently because of what lives in it.
Fascinating.
And that's the whole point, especially when you get to where the thing is.
Right.
You know, with everybody that's there.
And,
but they kind of like pack
and-
up.
yeah,
They
and
continue to move on.
They're just kind of like chit-chatting and whatnot. There's
Yeah.
nothing really notable going
No,
on.
I mean, they're kind of like talking about life stuff,
Yeah.
not really making any kind of blasé comments or anything like that. But then an instance that kind of literally changes the course of everything is that Dom steps into a crack, twists his ankle, I'd say.
No, it wasn't even his ankle.
It
was like
wasn't,
his
but
knee.
I thought that it was his ankle for
Me too.
for a majority of the time until that very end bit,
Yeah.
and then you see that it's his knee. So Dom twists his knee.
Yeah.
Dom fucks up his knee.
Yeah, real bad.
Really, really bad.
bad.
And
But what's really funny with their friend group is that they all assume that he's just being a wuss about it.
because apparently that's his shtick. Is
Yeah.
he's a bit of a baby when it comes to getting hurt. And I'm
Yeah.
like, he does seem the
He
type.
does seem kind of like a
Like,
pussy.
oh, guys, my finger.
They basically all come to the same conclusion that he's not going to be able to make the next 14 hours that they have to hike towards the lodge. Their ideas are
Well, because they are attempting it, and Dom is making them maybe incredibly slow. He is not keeping any kind of pace other than snail's pace. It's
Yeah.
putting them really, really behind.
Hutch. He initially suggests that they just cut through the woods. That they basically just take, what is it called? Like a bird's?
Oh my god. You can make the hand movements all you want. fly, fucking hell.
Fly the bird.
As the crow flies. Fuck.
He
Dude,
suggests that they
making a
go
path.
that fucking direction.
It makes a crow's path, basically.
Yeah, that they go that direction, that it should be able to cut their entire trip in half. And I'm still like, that's still 7 hours that he's hiking.
It's still 7 hours, and now you're going through dense fucking woods.
But Luke
Yep.
suggests that Hutch leaves Dom and Phil on the mountainside, and that Luke will also stay behind with them. Because at that point, Dom has twisted his knee, and also it kind of seems like Phil, he's getting calluses from his boots that he never actually
broke in
He
properly.
didn't break them in properly,
Yeah,
so
like
now he's
Phil
getting
didn't really
calluses and
prepare
stuff like
very
that.
well for this.
So-
I think his socks are like a little bit soggy.
Right,
Which we all know.
never.
Never get your socks wet.
never get your socks
Never
wet.
get your socks wet. Luke suggests that Phil and Dom stay, and they would leave all their food and their provisions with them. Luke's going to go with Hutch.
Leaving Phil and Dom behind with all the
Yes.
food and provisions and stuff, and heading back the way that they just came to go and get help, or to at least go and get cell service.
His thought is that at least they can stay safe where they already know where they are.
Right.
Literally on a map. They're on a trail. Other people can find them very
And it was
easily.
like an open field too.
Yeah, and if we
So-
leave them with literally both of our tents and all the food, and you and I basically just like power walk back, we can at least
Right.
get some kind of help out here in
And
time.
I honestly think it's just because they blame him for
Literally roll credits right there. I think Luke had a great idea.
Yeah, great idea. He had
But
the
they
best
just fucking
idea.
hate him. So
Yeah.
like, no. Dom refuses, even though he's literally the one that they are having to accommodate. Literally just came down to the fact that they hate Luke. So
Yeah.
his seemingly very good idea is immediately shot down because fuck this guy.
They do decide to end up going through the forest, and
I literally have in my notes, go as the crow flies. I could have just looked at my
Bro.
fucking notes. That would have saved us so much
oh my
trouble.
god! But as soon as they get into the forest, from what I could see, but I don't know if it's actually true, it seems like his compass stops working. That's what it looks like, but I don't know.
It doesn't stop working,
Okay.
but as soon as they go into the woods, it does do a weird little flippy thing.
Like time moves different, or
The
like
things
it's, like,
things are
experience
different in those woods because
Okay.
of what resides in there.
But yeah, in this moment, it's really nice to actually see them all be an actual true friend group.
Yeah.
So that's not, but it's very quickly derailed because they come across a deer
I was gonna say it's our first mucky
or an elk. Oh, it's quite mucky.
Yeah.
it's quite fucking mucky.
Yeah, it's pinned to the trees and gutted.
Well, it's like, yeah, it is pinned to the trees, ain't it?
It's like purposely pinned.
yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Like when you do science experiments with frogs in science class, literally like that.
Like
and
that,
it's like guts
yeah.
are, I feel sick.
Luke observes, back to the mucky deer, that it is still bleeding. That blood is
Again.
still running.
Again,
Out of it.
He has such good insights, but these motherfuckers.
Well, for one, he does deliver them in a pretty bitchy way. Not
He's
gonna
a
lie.
bitch.
Yeah, I mean, he is a bitch, so it is what it is. But like,
Let him be a bitch. Y'all
be a
knew
bitch.
he was a bitch. Why'd you invite him to the fucking hike then?
that's my thing. That is literally my thing. I'm like, just because he was Robert's friend, Robert's dead.
And also, just literally play the blame card. Just be like, oh, you let Rob die? Fuck you.
Fuck you. We're not gonna talk to you anymore. Bye. Like, I don't understand understand why we're bringing him along.
Literal high school girl bullshit going
It's
on.
because they need someone to be angry at. And
Yeah,
they
they need
need
a
someone
scapegoat.
because they can't be angry at the men who actually did it.
Yeah.
And they already had negative feelings towards
Well,
Luke.
because like this whole trip was only 6 months after he died.
So I can understand why they need a physical embodiment of blame.
So they do decide to go ahead and move forward.
Continue moving forward instead of just
And
standing there.
At this point, it starts pouring down rain. It's becoming nighttime.
Tell me why none of these fuckers decided to make camp during light hours.
I don't know.
They're trying to set up camp at night.
Why do you think that you are above the sun? They're trying to decide if they should put up their tents or not when they mysteriously, miraculously
I was going to say,
come across a fucking dilapidated cabin.
yeah, Luke has found runes and sigils carved onto trees as they're trekking through the forest
Oh, that's right.
at night.
Yeah.
And it happens to be in front of an abandoned cabin. How convenient.
At what point, this literally reminded me so much of Cabin in the Woods, which is haha funny that this is a cabin in the woods. This is like all of those symbols and shit was literally the harbinger of doom. Just being like, some fuck shit's going on here. And they're just like, oh, the rain.
This is quite literally their last chance
Yep.
to turn around
Yep.
and be
And
like, maybe we shouldn't do this. Because, like, you're going to miss the mucky deer. It
Yeah.
is what it is. Sometimes shit just happens and you got to move forward. This is hand carved. Someone or something did this. And now we're just conveniently located in front of a cabin. Maybe turn around.
Maybe don't go outside the cabin.
Maybe don't stay
read
here.
the Latin.
Don't read the fucking
Don't
Latin.
read the fucking Latin.
Before entering the cabin, Luke hears a roar and screeching with leaves rustling.
You know what I fucking hate?
Huh.
This is one of the most terrifying creature calls I have ever heard in my fucking life. You know what sends me over the edge every single time? The knocking.
Oh,
Just
I
that.
hate. Yeah.
Oh,
That's like
my
that's
God.
a part of its call.
I hate
It's
that.
terrifying. I fucking hate creatures
Mimics
that can
scare
mimic.
me so bad.
They're so terrifying. Luke seems to be the only one that hears this.
That's what confuses me.
Quite literally, no one else hears it.
That makes me think it's calling to him.
I think
whatever that thing is that's making that noise, it's
Yeah.
calling specifically to him. These things that it's putting into the woods, the deer, these symbols, it's leading him to somewhere, to it.
him specifically.
Him specifically. And you're just like, are you going nuts?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah. Are you good?
So they go into the cabin, they're looking around. There's obviously water damage. There's literally water coming into the cabin. I'm like, y'all would have been better off in your tents, but all right. Luke is trying to convince Hutch that he's heard something, and Hutch is like, I literally don't have time to deal with you. I have to get this fire going so we don't all freeze to
Yeah,
death.
Hutch is being
And-
semi-dismissive to Luke's concerns about the quote-unquote animal
Yeah.
outside, claiming that the lesser of the two evils is to stay in this obviously terrifying cabin.
Phil goes upstairs.
Right, Phil sent to the
And-
attic alone
Oh yeah, alone.
to find some wood to burn.
Yeah, he finds I said instead finds a fucking shrine thing made of sticks and deer antlers.
It is a headless humanoid figure with antlers for hands and some kind of chicken legs for feet.
Yeah, that.
What the fuck were those, actually?
I don't know.
I don't know what they were.
Literally
That's
T-Rex that shit. Like if all else failed and I went into this fucking cabin and then I went upstairs and I saw that. My dumbass is I'm not even pitching a fucking tent.
Quite
I'm
literally-
going through the woods until I am back in my fucking car. They've all put their sleeping bags in what I guess is considered like a living room
Yeah.
place, but it's got their fires going and whatnot. And
Yeah.
Luke, final time he is saying, can we please tomorrow just turn around, go back out of the woods that we came in, go home, or like go find help. The rest of the group is just like, no, we're probably like almost to the lodge and blah, blah, blah.
Dumbass bitches be doing dumbass shit. And then Phil, with another liner, says we should probably burn this place down when we leave. Maybe something is growling outside.
Maybe you should burn it down now.
Literally, yeah. Literally, as they're falling asleep, the last thing we see before we get in some shit, something's growling outside.
So now we get into some fuck
I
shit.
was gonna say my notes say we are now in some shit.
So Luke has a lucid nightmare where he re-enters that night when Rob got murdered. And as he looks at one of the glass bottles from the store, the entire rack flies away from him. As soon as that happens, he gains consciousness.
He's got bleeding marks on his chest.
Yeah, he's literally bleeding in his chest, like from his chest from
Yeah.
these like puncture wounds. And as soon as he's looking down at his shirt and he sees that, he looks back at the cabin because Hutch is screaming from back inside the cabin.
He kind of like clicks back in. It's like when you kind of first wake up and you're not really like with it, and then
I'm like that every single night when
and
I
then
have
you
to go
hear-
from the couch to my bed.
yeah, and then you hear something and it kind of brings you back in.
Yeah.
that happens to him.
So Luke goes back into the cabin to see Hutch, and Hutch is literally screaming. He's looking at Luke, just being like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, and he's pissed himself.
He has pissed himself.
Poor baby. Yeah.
You know,
But you know what though? It's really funny. He goes, I pissed myself.
you know what's really bad is that I have here in my my name for Hutch is quote unquote the handsome man because I think that that's what he's supposed to be. I don't know if that's the truth.
I think he's quite handsome.
He is very handsome. I felt really like I was just like, wow, I am a thirsty bitch because like even though I'm literally looking at this man and he's pissed himself, the fact that he like tries to joke it off while still in his trauma, I'm like, oh my god, he's still so fine.
Yeah, love him so much.
Love him so much.
Give me a kiss. Just maybe you change your clothes first.
Yeah, maybe don't kiss me with your piss pants.
At the same time, Dom is in the corner of the cabin screaming for his wife, Gail.
Yeah.
Gorgeous woman.
Gorgeous girl.
We see her at the end of the movie. His knee is extremely bruised and doesn't look great. What I really like about this whole thing is that even they're all traumatized and even though they're all really confused, they're all trying to check in on one another.
Yeah.
To be like, are you okay?
Yeah, and unfortunately Phil is the only one missing from the
he's
group.
not doing well.
On the ground floor.
Luke
and
sees that his pajamas are on the stairs. Like he's undressed as he goes up the stairs.
So we go upstairs and Luke sees Phil nude, seemingly praying to the ritualistic statue in the attic.
Okay, so this is where I had the problem.
Okay, I agree.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I already know what it is.
This is where I have the problem.
I agree. Yep.
Why did you have to make the brown
The
guy
one brown guy who is in probably Muslim,
something?
not Christian Catholic,
No. And you're making him
pray to
pray.
some kind of Nordic deity. It's a little fucked.
It's a little tone deaf. I could have nope, you know what? This is one of those things like I could forgive racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
Animal cruelty, yeah.
I'm not like that. I don't like the fact that Phil is just like half-ass written in.
Yeah.
I would have much rather preferred had they given, if they had to have all of these actors in these exact same roles, give Phil, the actor who played Phil, give him Dom's role.
I think that Phil, if we're gonna at least only if we're gonna only switch people around for things, I think Phil should have pissed his pants. And I think Hutch should have been upstairs naked praying to the deity because I think it would have been some kind of weird like I'm gonna break your leadership.
Alpha.
Yeah, it's an alpha thing. Why are we alphaing Phil?
But it's not an alpha thing.
No,
I genuinely think it's because
I think it's because he actually has like
he has it like I think he's supposed to be perceived to have a faith. I think like
that's my
whoever
thing.
wrote the story or whoever decided the casting and stuff like that is leaning into the fact that the audience member is going to see a brown Asian man and believe
who's living in the UK
and believe that he is probably some sort of Muslim, probably is what they're expecting. And wouldn't it be so taboo for him to be praying?
That's my thing.
We know that like specifically the Islamic religion is so strict with how you pray and what you pray to. Oh, let's make him pray to a deity.
That's where I read it as. Even the first time that I watched it, I feel like Phil actually is a man of some kind of faith.
And I don't know, if I give them the benefit of the doubt, it's just Phil is praying to a deity and that's weird.
Yeah,
but I feel like it was tone deaf with like the casting.
Yeah,
personally,
I think we should let Phil piss his pants.
Yeah, piss your pants, Phil.
I think any one of them doing that would have been fucking weird.
But at that point, they're quickly exiting the cabin. They see the same symbols that they saw last night now displayed on, I believe, all of the trees surrounding the cabin.
And it looks like the branches have been removed
so it's
in order to allow for more visibility of these sigils.
Who or what did that? Was it people? Was it a thing?
Was it a person? One person?
Was it many people?
Was it them? Luke suggests again, going back the way they came.
Again, how many fucking times does this motherfucker have to say the same fucking thing? Why are you not listening to him?
Meanwhile, Hutch wants to continue the way of the map. Dom instead suggests following a path that has seemingly formed overnight.
Right. He's like, look, that must mean that goes towards something. People clearly use this.
Maybe we didn't see it in the middle of the night, you dumb bitch. Smartly, they're going to go down the Dom path.
Fucking idiots.
Oh, this is kind of where Phil tries to attempt to be a part of the group. He wants to talk about what happened to them, as does Luke. Luke agrees. Luke would also like to know what the fuck happened, but Hutch and Dom are vehemently against it. I would love to hear what happened to everyone while they were dreaming, because we only got Luke's perspective.
So yeah, now they're clearly lost, but Dom points out that there's some like these weird like structures along the path that I don't really know how to explain them other than like they kind of just look like in-ground tiki torches. That's the only way that I can think of it. They clearly they're put there to like light a path. At this point, they come across another cabin and for some fucking reason they decide not to go in it.
Yeah, they actually avoid this cabin. I'm like, okay, now we're not going to explore. now we're gonna be bitches.
They decide to move past the cabin and Dom needs a break. Oh yeah, I put on here, I'm pretty sure his knee is bleeding through his pants.
Which I didn't even see, so I'm glad you saw it, because I was in the much in the mind of Hutch, who is now discounting Dom's pain threshold, quote unquote. So Dom decides to just lay down, refusing to get up.
Good for him.
I also wrote, in hopes of finding something, Luke is running up the hill / mountain to the ridge to see if he can see anything.
But actually, I wrote in here, oopsie daisy.
Oopsie daisy. However,
the ridge isn't actually a ridge. It's just flattened area that's extremely wooded.
Yeah, it's just more dense woods. He hears a branch break and witnesses a hand move from the front of the tree to the back of the tree.
The very first time I watched this with my spouse, I missed it.
Me too. I watched it by myself and I missed it.
I heard
completely.
The noise. I was literally staring straight at it.
Me too. I didn't even see it.
I couldn't see it.
Nope.
I had to rewind it.
Yeah,
He showed me where it was and I was like,
yeah, then I was fucking freaking the fuck out.
And then the tree retracts and everything starts breaking.
Kind of like moving towards him.
Yeah, but you can't see nothing.
I can't see it. Yeah, it's just something is rushing towards him.
Yeah, but so he obviously runs down the hill and he gets back to the group and he's telling them that like something is after them. Clearly he's becoming unhinged.
Yeah, the group is breaking.
The group is breaking, and this is where Dom finally says what's been on his mind the entire time, because he's so fucking sick of Luke being like, ooh, something's after us, ooh, we should head back to where we are. And obviously he's in pain.
Right.
And they're all tired, they're all hungry, they've been out in the woods for way longer than they're
all
supposed
probably
to be.
Scared.
And he says that he blames Luke for Rob's death because he didn't fight for Rob. And so Luke punches him in the face.
Which I'm not mad at.
I'm not mad at.
I'm not gonna lie.
No.
Because like honestly, talk shit, get hit. Consequences of your own actions, you know?
So Hutch tries to step in to just be like, let's not fight or anything like that. But then Dom is just like, you all know that it's true. You all know that you agree with me. And Luke is just like, no, like they don't think that. And none of them say anything.
I think they all kind of do.
They
Because
all
honestly,
kinda do.
Robert wouldn't have been in that store had it not been for Luke being the little bitch baby that he was.
Because he just wanted to go home.
But again, it is that whole they need someone to blame.
Yeah.
For this.
Oh yeah, because I put in here they all blame Luke for not standing up for Rob, and I'll believe if he had done anything, then Rob would still be alive. Because no, they both would have been dead.
They both would have died because he would have challenged the fucking guy with a machete. You don't challenge a guy with a machete when you don't have a machete.
Nope. You don't bring a fist to a machete fight.
Nope.
So night begins to fall. Once again, they're all like on their 5th fucking night or something like that. And this is when they come across a tent that's buried deep in the ground.
Very deep in the ground.
Very deep. It's got some belongings in it, and they find a family photo that has like a mom and a dad, a son and a daughter. They're all blonde.
A credit card that expired in 1984.
So they all believe that they're gonna end up just like this family.
Hutch is, he's trying to reassure the group that they'll be found even if they don't make it out of the woods.
Right.
Because they registered with the lodge, which will report them missing.
And
It's
I
like,
was like,
bitch,
smart.
but like,
But they don't know where you are.
They're gonna think you're on the trail,
Right.
not in the fucking woods.
Dom's knee genuinely looks broken.
disgusting,
It actually
yeah.
does look broken. And Phil's feet are bleeding from his shoes. This is the point where Hutch tells Luke should go by himself to go and try and find some help.
Because he's the strongest of them.
Yeah.
I agree with it in that I think Luke's intense selfishness and a bit of a narcissism would definitely power him enough to be able to get him to safety.
He's so much like, you think you can fucking kill me?
Yeah, literally. Is he not?
He'll survive out of spite.
He will survive out of spite. He'll be like, you think you fucking got me? You think you're gonna fucking take me? Luke, aka Noel from Shaun of the Dead? I don't think so. I am the best Andy. I don't think I like the other Andy, not gonna lie.
Hutch will stay back with Phil and Dom and look after them. Luke
Yeah.
should take his compass and continue heading southwest towards the lodge. While they're all sleeping this night, Luke hears something extremely large
Very heavy-footed.
outside of their tents, rustling and breathing like around them.
Yeah.
He hears one of their tents unzip. So then he unzips his tent. He just is like looking around to see if anything has happened. This is when he starts to again have the same nightmare, reliving the night that Rob was killed, and he sees Hutch's tent fly away. So he wakes up to Phil screaming
His ass off.
fucking ass off.
Yeah.
And he finds that Hutch's tent is
Fucked up.
fucked up, and there's blood in it.
Blood in it, yeah.
And so he wakes Phil and Dom up, and they start to hear Hutch screaming in the distance in the woods.
Not even, he's shrieking.
Oh my god, he literally sounds like he's being murdered.
Yeah.
So they're running around in the woods just with their fucking flashlights, girl, trying to find him. And Dom convinces them to go back to the tents to wait for the sunrise.
Yeah, get their bearings because they've now gotten lost.
Yeah, so that they don't end up getting more lost and die in the woods from, like, obviously hypothermia. They literally just hauled ass out of their fucking tents.
Yeah, they just fucking ran for
And I'm
it.
like, thank you so much, Dom. Finally.
Somebody makes a good decision and then you all stick with it.
Yeah.
I bet if Luke would have said that, we would have
Yeah.
been running around.
Yep.
They didn't even go back to their tents was the thing.
They
literally
sat
just
on a
sat down.
mountainside.
They found
Incline.
an incline
Yeah.
where like a tree could cover them and just sat and just waited for the sun to come up. And
Bro.
then once the sun was finally up enough,
Dead ass, dude. That's what I would do if
me
the zombie
too.
apocalypse
Honestly,
happened.
I'm like, I can't go I can't see shit.
That's what I
I'm not
understand
gonna be
when
running
people
through the woods with my flashlight.
People are like, oh, if you have an intruder in your house, what if there's a ghost, blah, blah, blah. Anything that happens in a horror movie, girl, I'm sitting down.
I'm sitting down.
They're looking for Hutch again now that there's actually daylight. And unfortunately, R.I.P. to Mr. Hutch. He is found in the same way that poor elk was found earlier.
Body stuck in the branches of the trees.
R.I.P. Hutch, gone but not forgotten.
They get him down from the tree. Down with his busted ass knee.
Phil with his bust-ass
feet. And then Luke with his bust ass
Mental
emotions.
health.
Yeah. They got his from fucking high up.
Yeah.
His dead ass down from the trees. They got him down.
They
Don't
grab
fucking how.
They grab his compass, and because they aren't actually able to bury him, they decide to cover his body with sticks.
A lot of sticks.
A lot of sticks,
Yeah.
a lot of pine and stuff like that, and then they're going to keep moving forward. Phil makes the statement that whatever he believes, that whatever is hunting them purposely put Hutch's body there for them to find.
Knew that they'd walk back that way and find
Yeah.
him. To which Dom tells him to keep his shit together.
When he said that, I was like, are you now?
I'm like, okay, you definitely didn't have to get him down from the tree.
Oh no, at this point, because they're constantly walking through the trees in the forest, I'm fucking paranoid.
I'm looking at everything. There's nothing, to my knowledge.
I don't know either.
I'm not going on Reddit. I don't want them to tell me what's in there.
They're still continuing on the same path.
The man-made path.
Yeah, the man-made path
Yeah.
with those little weird, I don't know, tiki torches in the ground type of thing. And they come across a puddle. So they decide to sip out of it because I'm assuming at this point they don't have any resources.
Provisions, nothing. I mean,
at
it's like,
all.
but while drinking that, they see footsteps, strange footsteps in the mud.
And
They
it's
decide
receding from
not
it.
to follow them. That's the thing we're not going to follow. Okay. We're going to follow the man-made path.
We see that they actually made the correct choice in not going towards the footsteps because this is where we get a very quick sneak peek
Of the creature
of
itself.
the creature, and it looks like a giant
moved-
fucking moose thing.
Yeah.
Now we're going into what I'm assuming is the last night of all of them together. Until last
Phil
night.
isn't doing so well mentally. The
Yeah.
creature got into his head and is staying there. And then Dom is not doing so good physically for reasons stated earlier.
This is where Luke actually finds a proper ridge, and he can
Yes.
see that they are actually, well, he says they're really close to the lodge.
It's still a good day's walk.
I was going to say, that's like another 8 hours.
Yeah, good power walk to get there. However, he also sees small flame-like lights showing that there are people down there.
So he goes back to the other two and tells them that they need to follow him, and finds that, well, it's nighttime. So he can't really see them, and he's going down there to see if they're okay.
Yeah.
And he can, like, see them.
But
But then
sees Phil
he's
searching
Yeah,
through
he's
the
like,
trees with a flashlight.
He's like, I think I saw something.
But as soon as he does that,
Yeah.
Phil is yeeted through the forest by an unseen force/creature. We have to assume that he's dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, because he's screaming almost the exact same way that Hutch was. I'm going to say R.I.P.
Yeah, I'm gonna say rip Phil.
to Phil, just because we didn't really get a lot of him.
Didn't get a lot of him.
Yeah.
Didn't get his backstory on what happened, what made him pray like that to the deity.
Yeah.
What did the deity do
He
to
very
him?
much felt like a throwaway character.
He
Like
was very
they
much
needed
a
to add that
throwaway
extra
character.
step of getting them to revealing the monster, and they were like,
Correct.
"Oh, we already wrote our 4 main characters.
Yep.
Let's throw in this 5th guy." But while they're fleeing, Luke runs into a tree. And I said, and causes himself to hallucinate that he's back at the night Rob was killed.
I feel so bad
Yeah, like at
because
this point, this is when you decide to drop the fucking ball, dude.
it was, in my opinion,
Literally
it was such
dunked
comedic
himself on the
timing.
fucking. Literally sounded like when somebody gets hit in the head with a coconut. It was a hit in the head with a coconut goddamn scene. So now he's coming back into consciousness, and he attempts to find Dom and Phil. Finds Dom hiding behind like a log.
Well, he's in like a shallow hole by a tree.
Yeah, and
yeah.
they decide to group together and try
Yeah.
to escape. This is when they realize that the beast is hunting them, and they decide that they're going to run together towards their escape. As they're running, they're actually confronted with the giant beast that's hunting them.
Oh, and then they see Phil.
This is when we actually know that R.I.P. to Phil.
Yeah, for real, rip to Phil.
To describe the creature, basically like that wooden statue that they found in the cabin. It has antlers as hands, and it looks like it has a human torso at the very top that doesn't have a head, and then a very elongated actual torso that goes into the body of an elk,
Moose, deer
moose kind thing.
but it's fucking huge. And honestly, it's like front-facing torso that you look at looks hollow in the middle, almost like
does.
where like like in old cartoons where like owls sit.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that.
As they're running, they fall onto a path lined with those same structures that they found earlier. Those like tiki torches in the ground. They don't actually look like tiki torches, but that's the only thing I can think of.
they're just like little flame
Little lantern
logs.
things.
Yeah.
It leads them to a cabin that's actually clearly inhabited by people.
Yes, somebody
That's
does.
clearly,
People do live
like,
there.
lived in.
But then
And
they
so-
get knocked unconscious.
So Luke wakes up to him and Dom kind of like stripped down to their undershirts and underwear.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dom and Luke wake up down to their skivvies, chained
oh my
up.
god, I literally wrote down to their skivvies.
Down to their skivvies, yeah, chained up in a dungeon-esque holding of sorts.
Above them, you can hear like snarling, like a
It's-
whole bunch of like
it's
like
something.
if people were making what they assumed an aggressive dog sounded like a whole
Oh,
bunch
yeah,
of people
yeah,
were
yeah.
doing that. That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
The cabin that they're being held in, it looks like it's a log cabin, and the logs are held together by like mud. Luke is able to make a small hole in the mud. He's able to see that the village actually has like real people in it. They're making some sort of structure. He specifically focuses on, well, I don't know if it's him or just like people in general, but it focuses on one woman who's like extremely blonde. I'm pretty sure it's either the mother or the daughter from the picture that they found that was in that tent.
I think it's the daughter.
I think so too. At this point, an old woman comes into the room that Luke and Dom are in.
I
and
love
she,
her.
like, she won't say anything.
Yeah, she's just there.
Deadass
She's
won't say
vibes.
nothing. She's just like, "What's up, bitch?" And she gives Luke some water and
Only
looks-
Luke.
and looks at the punctures in his chest. And she reveals, she pulls down her shirt a little bit too, and shows that she also has the
has the
exact same punctures.
Same spot too.
He's marked.
Yeah.
He's marked for something. So she goes over to Dom to see if he also has the markings, and he doesn't. So she's like, "Fuck you, bitch. You don't get any water."
Yeah.
She's like, "Stay thirsty."
But they take him away, hit his head a bit at the door.
Oh, and they take him upstairs, and Luke can hear that there's like kind of like demonic grunting is like
I literally
way
said
worse now.
demonic-esque voices growling at him.
Yeah, it's like way worse now. And Dom is again just like Hutch and just like Phil,
screaming his ass
his
off.
screaming is like out of pure terror.
It's not I'm in pain.
I mean, there's like a little bit of I'm in pain, but it's mostly
Like,
what
just
the fuck.
terrified.
The woman that Luke noticed earlier comes into his room and covers his ears.
She lets
crying.
Luke know first that they're preparing Dom for a sacrifice, and then covers his ears so he doesn't have to hear it.
So a whole bunch of time has passed, and they finally bring Dom back into the room, and he is fucked up. At this point, Dom realizes he's going to be killed. Like he understands that he's going to die, and he only realizes this because this is the moment when he tells Luke what his nightmare was. Dom dreamt that the people of the village offer Dom to the beast, and in his final moments, he actually gets to see his wife, Gail. Because they're at this village, he's like, that's actually going to come true. I'm going to die. So he tells Luke that he needs to survive so that he can tell all of their families what happened. Because literally all of them have a wife and children.
And then this is where I made an offhanded observation. I think it was a sight into his future. And I think all of them had something to do. I mean, obviously we get it at this point that they all had something to do to play to get Luke to that village. So I think Hutch was always going to be the one that led them to the village. And I think that Phil was its eyes. I think that the creature could see their movements through
Yeah.
Phil, which is why Phil looked like hell, because it was, like I said, it was in his mind and it stayed there. And then Dom was the way to the people, like to get him to the people. And that's how you get Luke, who I'm guessing is to be a new addition to the people.
So at this point, Luke is saying that, like, you know, you're not going to die. They're going to try and escape together. Some more time passes by. The henchmen bring Dom outside in time to the structure that they were building earlier. At this point, we can see that there are so many more structures that have had bodies on them, and there's a lot of fucking bodies in those trees.
There's a lot of corpses pushed into the high parts of the trees around the cabin. No amount of anything doing anything could
Eternal
make me like,
anything is not worth that.
yeah, I live in a tiny cabin.
It's
with
eternal
a bunch
hell
of,
is what
it's-
it is.
It is. It's a personal hell, honestly.
So in order to escape, because Luke still has restraints on him,
yeah, he's trying to get out of his rope chains.
he breaks his thumb. When I tell you this was the most horrifying part of this fucking movie.
Well, he first starts out with burning the shit out of his wrists.
Yeah. he's like trying to rope
get the
burning them.
rope, but
Oh
then he
my
breaks his
God.
thumb so that he can just basically maneuver out of the
Yeah.
thing.
But
And the creature is here.
Unfortunately, it's too late, and the creature is here, and it's like coming towards Dom.
The people start bowing to it as it's here to collect Dom. Dom looks towards the creature, and we see his wife, Gail. Her eyes, though, looked to me. I was like, that's not normal. I was like, is his wife blind or something? Like,
It was like luminescent.
kind of luminescent. I wrote, that's so fucked. It's not really Gale, though. It is the creature looking into him with Gale as the decoy. The creature is gripping Dom with its dead hands, just as he dreamt, and picks him up and pushes him into the tree branches like some fucked up Christmas ornament.
Okay, well,
Mucky. Essentially, he uses Gale as a decoy to, I think this thing feeds off of fear.
yeah, definitely, yep.
And he wanted to look like Gale to give Dom a false sense of hope that, like, oh my God, my wife, like, I love my wife. I'm going to get to go home. It's going to be so nice. Only to quite literally
rip it away.
Immediately drop that veil.
Yeah.
And it's my dead hands around your face. And you're looking at my eyes, not your wife's eyes. You're looking at my eyes, and I've got you.
Yeah.
And Dom just fucking starts shrieking.
Yeah.
Like, again, that fear.
Yeah, fear. It's
That
not
fear.
pain, it's fear.
It's fear. And it's
Yeah.
fucking terrifying.
It
Yeah. And then
sucks.
unfortunately becomes a Christmas ornament. So
I said R.I.P.
yeah, rip. He was a bit of a bitch, but he didn't deserve it.
So at this point, the young blonde lady who was nice to Luke earlier, she returned. He asked her if she could please bring Dom's body down from the trees. And this is where she goes on to explain that they don't move the bodies. She said the creature is I don't know how to pronounce it, Jotun, god.
I literally wrote a Jutun. I know that's not correct.
It is a bastard offspring of Loki.
Loki, with a
Who is a
name that
Jew.
they do not speak.
His father is a trickster. He is a trickster. I didn't know Loki was this fucking evil.
You should read up on Loki.
Yeah.
Loki's pretty fucked. Not
I don't
gonna lie.
know. Marvel has really fucked up my
Yeah,
understanding.
he's
of
not Tom
Norse
Hiddleston.
gods.
No, because it's definitely not Tom Hiddleston.
And like Odin too.
Nope.
Like
all of them are bad. Literally none of them are great.
So this specific creature keeps these people in this village after it chooses them and gives them an unnaturally long life, so they don't die and they can't feel pain.
No pain or suffering.
No pain or suffering.
Yeah.
So all of these people are given the option to kneel before the god and worship it or be hanged from the tree.
And he asked why did it pick him, and all she can say to him is that he knows great pain.
it makes me wonder, like,
Makes me wonder what the fuck
they
does
all
that
lost
mean?
the same friend, but was it because he saw?
He has to live with the fact that he did do nothing.
Yeah.
I think he does know that, like, he fucked up. He, for all of his, I'm not tied down by anything, I can do whatever I want, I am whatever I want kind of attitude. When it came down to literally just protecting a person that you love in your life, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you had no ability to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be
It's
mad
like,
at
oh,
him
no wonder
for
you're
it.
single.
Yeah, I'm not going to be mad at him for it. Like, we never know how we're going to react in such a high stressful situation.
Yeah.
But for him to have such a front, and then probably over those last 6 months to really be, I mean, obviously it's still haunting him, like to keep reliving it night after night after night. I can't imagine how much doubt you now have inside yourself. It's not just the pain of losing his friend, it's the pain of losing himself as well.
Yeah, he lost part of his humanity.
Yeah, because he's just like, I literally let my friend die.
Yeah, and you did.
And you
honestly.
did.
But
You
you didn't kill
did.
him.
Yeah,
You
you
didn't
didn't
kill
kill
him,
him,
but
but
you
you
didn't do
did
anything.
nothing to prevent his death when you very well could have, and that's
Yeah.
something that you have to live with for the rest of your life. And that is a pain. That is a
Yeah.
great suffering that he has to. That grief will never go away.
After she leaves, though, well, she's basically presenting him with the fact of just like, you know, you can bow to this thing and have an unnaturally long life with us, because clearly it shows you. Why the fuck anybody thinks that he would choose that after all the shit that he's done? I don't know, but
Well, that's that theory that we have about the fact that, like, I think this thing finds the one in the group that, like, doesn't like its life, doesn't like their life, doesn't want the life that they have, probably has dealt with great pain, great suffering, and things like that. Like, who's to say that that woman who the tent that we find, we only find one person's things. Who's to say that she didn't lose her whole family?
oh right, yeah,
And
like
that's
what if
why
there was, like,
she's out there.
What if there was like a camping accident?
Yeah. Well,
And
no,
they're
I'm
all
saying, like, what happens if she's just out there camping because she lost her whole family?
Oh, I see what you
like
mean.
from a grief, and it didn't even have to trick her. It just
Yeah.
found her and was just like, look, long life, people,
Oh,
family.
I see what you mean.
That kind of thing. He didn't have
Yeah.
to kill anybody. They were already dead.
Huh.
Because it looked like a one-person tent.
It looked like a one-person tent, and what
only
if
had
she was
one
the
person's
mom,
things.
and like she had lost her husband and kids? Like, what if that was? Because that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That if it did take the daughter, then the daughter would still be a daughter's age, which was a child,
Right.
because it's an unnaturally long life. I'm assuming you stop probably aging.
You don't
Or, like-
age as quickly.
Right. So, like, she wouldn't be a full-grown fucking woman
No.
at that point.
No.
When the tent was found, it was like, what, 10, 20 years before they had found it?
Yeah, well, if the credit card expired in 84...
Oh, then that would have been like 30 years.
We'll
if
say
we're going,
like
20.
82,
Right.
83
So you're
is
telling me
when-
that that little girl, 30 years now, would all of a sudden look like she had aged actually 30 years?
Yeah, where if...
If she had been in this village, where if it was the mom, she would look like that still now.
Yeah, or maybe like a
Little bit
5,
older.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
But,
much, but
yeah.
yeah, so that makes sense.
After she leaves, Luke escapes the room
Yep.
and makes his way upstairs to see what the growling is all about. He grabs a torch from the banister. Upon entering the room, the growling gets quiet.
It stops.
They stop.
Yeah, they stop.
They stop growling, and I was like,
Yeah. And I said,
"Don't go to the room."
It's a bunch of skin and bones people in pews.
They literally look like mummies.
It looks like chocolate.
Literally chocolate.
Literally chocolate.
Literally chocolate.
That's who it is. All decked out though. A lot of them have headdresses and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he notices that they start breathing.
One of them breathes.
One of them breathes, and
Yeah.
and he very slowly just lights one on fire, lights another one on fire. I'm like, are you a sociopath?
Oh, he lights them bitches up.
Damn.
Well, because I think he's putting 2 and 2 together very quickly because he is smart.
Right.
He has been smart this entire time. Everybody just hated him, so nobody listened to him.
He's like, these bitches are still living. They've been given this unnaturally long life from this
Exactly.
creature. I don't know how fucking old these things are,
Yep.
but it's your time to fucking go.
Yeah, I wrote, in my
Goodbye.
opinion, these are people who have been worshiping this creature for probably centuries.
Yeah.
And when they get to this point of decay, they are placed in this upstairs bit to continue worshiping the god since they are no longer able to do things outside in the village.
Yeah.
Kind of like a big room of elders,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he lights them bitches up.
Others from the outside start to notice that the fucking ceiling is on fire because
Yeah,
they're all
because he
caught
lit
on
them
fire.
up. Well, and they're screaming.
Oh, that's the thing too. Yeah, they're like actually screaming.
Yeah,
they just sound like ghosts being released
Yeah,
from like a
honestly.
wind pipe or something like that.
Yeah.
He goes down the stairs, and that's when he meets the old woman.
Yeah.
Bro, Deadass does not hesitate, rocks her shit.
I said,
Are
he
you
gives
kidding
her,
me?
gives her a good old punch to the nog and she goes down like a bag of potatoes.
Oh my god, rocks her shit.
He could have just pushed her. She would have fallen.
She's fucking old.
You didn't have to fucking deck her like that.
But because the whole village is on fire and there's chaos down here, Tom.
Yeah.
The creature comes from the woods and literally starts picking off the villagers.
He's just like,
He's like, oh, you want to fuck around? Find out.
Yep.
So
Yep.
at this point, Luke loads a gun that he had seen earlier, Chekhov's gun. But he is determined to kill this literal god.
He's like, I'm gonna do it. I don't give a fuck who
The
Loki
audacity
is.
of a white man.
Got him this far.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. So he gets a better glimpse of the creature, and I said it literally looks like someone took the torso and head of a human and put it as the snoot of an elk moose creature thing. But that's a nice, beautiful shot of it against the burning building.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous looking creature, terrifying as shit.
Terrifying as shit, but it's very gorgeous.
But Luke, like I said, he decides to fucking shoot at the god.
Yeah. I literally
Instead of
wrote
run
White Boy
away.
activated, shoots at it with his tragic musket
Oh my god.
and gets its attention turned to him.
Yeah, so the creature comes after him, and they're basically just running around the woods together. And
I said running around him, running after him like a horrific Christmas reindeer.
what's up with you and Christmas?
Gives me Christmas vibes.
Excuse me?
This gives me Christmas vibes. It's like The Witch. I don't
No.
know why The Witch also gives me
What?
Christmas vibes.
So Luke starts hallucinating that
Yeah,
he's back
got
at the convenience
PTS mode
store.
activated.
Yeah, and at this point he's tackled by the creature. He's struggling to regain his consciousness. He's kind of like he's stuck in the nightmare while getting attacked by the creature, but he sees a way out of the forest. At this point, the creature is forcing him to kneel to him.
Yeah, picks
Like,
him up and throws him to the ground in
Literally
a bowing
over
position.
and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at what point do you realize you just got to put this motherfucker in a tree?
Well, like the first time that he does it, I don't think Luke understands what's happening. Like, so he's like kind of looking up at it and it stands on its hind leg. He gets up in a form of defiance, to which it pushes him back down. As he's down, he sees Robert looking towards the axe that Luke has brought with him from the village. Yeah, he stands back up. The creature goes towards him and he axes that motherfucker in the head. In its true head.
yeah, it's actual
Yeah,
nog.
It's actual nog, which
Yeah.
is like where its eyeball is.
Yeah.
Eyeballs.
is. This gives him a little bit of time, and he makes an escape outside the forest. And we're assuming that because he leaves the tree line,
he leaves the forest.
Yeah, the god can't get to him, and the god is just like standing there.
I think that he is destined to only
be in that woods.
That's where he rules.
Yeah.
Is that woods.
That's his realm.
Yeah, that's his realm. Because he is a bastard offspring.
Right. Yeah.
He's not a true god. He's offspring. Bastard offspring.
Because he left the woods and he's just like, you can't touch me, motherfucker. He just starts like screaming.
They both are screaming at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just having a screaming contest at one another.
Hissy fit.
Yeah. But I think it's like it starts off with Luke screaming at him like, yeah, you motherfucker, I beat you, and that guy screaming at him like, you fucking, like doing like the, you fucking wait, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you wait till I get out of here. You ain't fucking shit if you step back in my house. And then Luke actually gets like really sad.
Yeah.
And like he's screaming because he's like, yo, you just fucking killed all my friends.
And now I have to go and face the fact that not only did I have to explain how my one fucking friend died 6 months ago, I now have to explain to the same fucking people and all of their families that my other 3 fucking friends are now dead too.
And I am still here.
I'm still here.
And then I honestly feel like the creature yells back at him in defeat, knowing, because here's the thing about old gods. Old gods can only remain if somebody worships them. And he just burnt his whole fucking village down.
I did not even think about that.
Everyone is gone.
So he was desperately trying to have Luke kneel to him because he was like, I need you, because if I don't have you, I will literally die.
It will take a while.
Right.
But he will he's a god. It's going to take like probably a couple centuries for him to die.
Somebody else will come into the forest.
Exactly. He's got time, but he needs at least one.
Right.
Because he needs one to also do the ritual so that he can put them up in the tree like a Christmas ornament and go from there. And Luke,
I didn't in think all about of it, that.
Refuses. And I think that's where that second scream is. Luke's like, now letting out his trauma and being like, all my fucking friends are dead.
Yeah.
And you fucking did this.
Yeah.
And it's yelling at him, you've just given me a death sentence.
Yeah.
Like, I now have no one to worship me.
They both kind of have a death sentence, to be honest.
They both have a, it's all your fault and I fucking hate you moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Fucking sucks.
But what would you rate this movie on a scale of 5?
The first time I watched it, what was a 5 out of 5?
Yeah.
First time I watched it. Now that I've watched it again a couple more times, I'd give it a solid like 4. Maybe 3.5.
I probably would have given it a 4 the first time I watched it, just because like this specific type of movie isn't ideal for me.
I was gonna say
I like psychological
I
thriller, but I'm not like a big fan of like, I like when it's much more like, even though it did have that supernatural aspect with it being an Old Norse god, it was still in the woods, which I like to frequent. So the less stuff that freaks me the fuck out about places that I actually go to, the better. So yeah, I would say 4 out of 5 just because it actually was creepy. But I would say, like now that I've watched it a couple of times, probably 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. Like, if I watched it...
I'm going to rewatch it again.
If I watch it once a year, I wouldn't be mad. Yeah. And if I met somebody and they're like, oh, I've never seen that movie, I'm like,
I'll watch it with them.
It. Yeah.
Definitely. Next week, we're doing Phoenix Tapes 97.
Yes. It'll be great. Bye.
Bye. The more views. Sorry, I'm trying to take my socks off. I'm sweating my ass off.
I just saw socks come out from under your blanket.
I'm sweating, but I don't want to take my blanket off. It looks like Hutch's compasses. Hutch's... Oh my god. I'm having a moment.
Hutch's compass?
Hutch's...
You got it.
Hutch's compass. I keep wanting to say Hutch's compasses. Hutch's... Oh my god. Ever seen those videos of those people like me gaining consciousness in the light section at Lowe's?
Yeah.
Maybe we should never do this at Friday nights. Because now you gotta go home and
I gotta go home in the middle of the night. And you gotta drive home in the middle of the night. You get passed by those scary reeds on the highway.
Oh my god, and the scary deer. There's so many deer out right now because it's hunting season.
Yeah, and they have the same eyes as the thing.
And the fucking antlers. I need to stop talking about it.
Yeah,
we're just
gonna move on.
Yep.
In their hallucinations, did they go
Could
do
you
that?
imagine if they would have been like modern day and they set up like trail
cams?
Yeah, like a trail cam. Ooh. Maybe, I'm gonna write that down. I'll keep a list of like scary things to make. Or like one is a street sweeper is actually a demon. Okay. Well, this is gonna be the outtakes, but there was one time I was driving down the road on my way to go pick up my spouse and there was a dead squirrel on the street. I was like, oh, that's sad. Came back. I'm not even kidding. 2 minutes later, there
You
was
told me about this.
no remnants of
I
a squirrel.
remember.
And I was like, wouldn't it be fucked up if it was just like a monster was eating these things?
Yeah.
And then like this person is like clearly not doing well and is just like really focusing on this. And then they decide to like try and cash in on the act by pretending to be a dead person by having like their friend hit them with their car so that they can go to the demon's lair. I haven't really written out the ending.
I like
also,
it, though.
don't take my idea.
No.
TM, 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 TM.
Tim, 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 Tim.
It's a bit much.
I saw it and I was just like, I'm exhausted.
Dead ass. I was like, can this be over?
I can't even be sad for this man because I'm just like, yo, I'm done with this.
That's why I
just
don't-
literally. That's when I want this to be like how the Wayans brothers always fuck around and like make horror movies. But it's like the scary movies.
Yeah.
I want them to do that with like this kind of film. Just be like, man, fuck, and just sit down and be like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. Because that'd be me.
Didn't know if you have to say all that shit about Christmas.
That's what he said. That's what he did though. Yuletide's burning and everything. And he's up in that tree.
Okay.
Like fucking our...
Stop.
What's his name? What is he?
Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky with the broken hockey stick. Yeah. One of our most favorite ornaments. That's what happened to poor old Dom.